established. Transmitting.
So, good day to you, my fellow atmospheric fans. Just gonna quickly do this. I promised Gary Scott, shout out to you, Gary. Love you, man. Love you very, very much. I'm sorry, I just put my mic on. I very much want to just give a big shout out to Gary and all the team, all the guys who run the atmospheric movement. I absolutely love that Facebook group, and I was asked a year ago on the 3rd of November, sorry Gary, the 3rd of November last year, could I do a video talking about, I was very humbled to be asked, but talking about Wednesday evening, which I was incredibly proud and happy to have done and made, and it came together very quickly. Yeah, thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. So I'm going to do this for you now. Anyway, so you sent me a bunch of questions, and obviously there would have probably have been, of their time sort of thing. So, right, so you said, let's talk about your track Wednesday evening. How did it come together? Well, I mean, I just basically stole a sample and put a beat to it and put a bass line to it. I mean, I know that sounds really sort of annoying and irritating to hear, but that is exactly what I did. The main sample that I used was from a track called Urban Space by Boomerang. Right? Now, I'm just gonna do this like this because I mean I could probably muck around and try and get the proper sound and all that stuff. But I just thought it would just be easier if I just did this because I found it on YouTube. I'm at the right point where it comes in. But if you remember the track Wednesday evening, it goes a certain way. I would suggest you go to the Inperspective Records YouTube channel and you can have a listen to it there. But apart from that, this is where I started the sample from. So sorry, Boomerang, love you. I love your stuff, but it was too juicy a sample and you left it open. So I'm just going to quickly play this. Hold on. So I want to sample it again. I really want to do it again. So yeah, that's where, give me a second. That's where the sample came from. And it was made on because you asked me what kit I used. I think I just had like just a PC. It was just a PC with, at the time I would have been using Logic 5.5. So I think I made it on Logic 5.5. And that was all I used. I didn't have any other sort of equipment or anything like that. I just had a bunch of crusty samples. I managed to sample that. I must have just sampled it off the record, recorded it straight in. I probably had some sort of a sound card of some description. I wish I was sort of tech savvy enough to remember the names of the actual bits of equipment I had, but I think I just literally recorded it into a sound card. I don't think it was anything more special than that. So that's what sheer equipment I use. And then you said, so your label Inperspective Records started in 1997 as a question. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. What was the backstory behind ASC's wind chime on your label? The backstory is that ASC is a fucking god. Has always been a fucking god. And as opposed to a puny god. Sorry, Marvel. But yeah, he's been an amazingly incredibly talented artist. He's just been an amazingly incredible and talented artist. Sorry, is what I wanted to say. And it has been his entire career. I've always loved my conversation with James. We've known each other now clean over 25 years, and I'm immensely proud to consider him a friend and a peer and a fellow junglist. And he'll deny, he always denies his junglist nature, but you know, he's off doing his wanky fucking soundtrack shit. But End of the day, you know, James, you know it. When you get down, you start splicing up at aim, when you start chopping up some shit, you're about it. You know what I mean? I say, and I hear it in your music all the time. So I love the man. So it's I mean there is no backstory other than that I was getting to know loads of people at the time, sort of like 97, 98. Yeah, there is no backstory, but then he goes and tells the backstory. No, about 97, 98. And then, you know, I remember first linking up with Heath Looney, hitting up when Gabe Reel from True Intent Recordings, shout out Gabe, hitting up with Antone, Tidal, when I hit up with the All in Balance boys, like, Kayla's recordings, I mean, but I said All in Balance, and I just had an emotional, just seriously. Look, I'm actually getting goosebumps right now. All in Balance. If you call yourself an atmospheric fan, you don't know the fuck who All in Balance is. I wish you every horrible thing that could possibly happen to you to happen to you. Really, All in Balance is one of the greatest. No one ever talks about that. See, I'm fucking getting emotional. Shit. No one ever talks about that guy enough. And some of his music is probably some of the most incredibly articulate and beautiful pieces of electronica you'll ever fucking hear. I'm actually getting emotional because it's seriously, all of them on that label were putting out what is definitively what I consider to be atmospheric. So yeah, sorry. Guys, I can't help it, man. This music gets me. I'll die for this shit. What can I say? Sorry, it's a massive digression. So in that, I'm meeting all these people, and then James is one of them. Obviously, I knew Equinox. I was getting through Equinox. I got to know Threshold and Breakage, and you know, I got to meet a whole bunch of them. And that's how I kind of got to know Leke and Paradox. And I was sort of meeting all these people all at the same time. It was a really incredible time, and James was one of them. And you know, I've got to know Sandy Senses, and you know, I ended up becoming best man at his wedding, and you know, he's a lifelong friend, and it's just so mad that I've met all these people because of ones and zeros. But anyway, sorry, stop going off the beaten track. I met James. I can't remember. I think we might have linked at. I can't remember. I can't remember where we actually met. I think we met online. I think it might have been through Subvert Central. Actually, it might have been through Subvert Central. It must have been through Subvert Central. That's the only thing I can think it must have been. I knew the Pariah boys as well. Blame, PhD, I was chatting to a lot as well. Nookie, I was getting to know, and Ray Keith. It was a great time, man. Shit, there's some story. I'm sorry, I'm regressing a bit because there's some stories that I'm just sort of starting to pop back into my head. But yeah, I got to know James anyway, and then he sent me a bunch of tunes, and Windchime was one of them, and then we put it out. That's that. Sorry, that was painful. Anyway. Tell us about Technicality and how and why it started. Well, the why was very simple. Like, you know, we weren't hearing anybody sort of play the stuff that we wanted to hear and like. And it wasn't just sort of like the atmospheric stuff. It was like the more choppy stuff. I played Square Pusher and Aphex Twin and shit, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I like all those 5/4 Blue Marten tunes, you know, shout out Blue Marten again. Up there. Big Bud, up there. PFM. Anyway, there was a lot of stuff being made. You know, I got to know Sandy, I got to know all these different people, and then it was like, well, you know, we need a place to play this stuff, and no one was giving us gigs necessarily. Not that I was particularly asking. I'm not going to make out there was a conspiracy against us or anything. Although that would be juicy, wouldn't it, to make out like there was an atmospheric conspiracy. But no, we then I just found this club, Herbal. They'd just, who was it? They'd just super styling. What are they called? Ah, damn it. The people that did the super styling tune, whatever they were called. Shit, what were they called? Oh, shit. Groove Armada. Sound of the Groove Armada. That's it. Sorry, come back in my head. Anyway, Groove Armada. they were in Herbal. They were doing a night. They were just getting their stuff together because there's two DJs and they were putting on nights. It was Groove Armada. That's where the Groove Armada started. And they just blew up. And so they left Herbal and there was like a gap in their schedule. And I rang them up literally 2 days after or something. So mad, sort of universe kind of interfering shit there. It was really crazy because the owners told me, Chris, and oh damn it, what was the other guy's name? Oh, one of them died as well. Anyway, got into Herbal, started doing a night, and I got a shout out Bailey here at this point as well, because he was very, very supportive of us on Radio 1 Extra. He really helped us out big time. He had us on as guests, and it was brilliant. And so he was massively important. Blame was massively important as well because he really sort of championed us in other ways amongst the sort of like our peers, and got us guest lists into Good Looking, and was always like there for us in certain ways, like from like an inside man kind of deal. And then I have to shout out Dev Paradox as well, because when I say have to, sorry, I need to, because he again was someone that was pretty well known and was prepared to support us and sort of come and do gigs for me. And I believe, I mean, I knew he did London gigs before. I wasn't sure if he did London gigs before, but it was definitely one of his first gigs for us. Was definitely one of his first like gigs in London, to what I understand. But I'm sure I'll be corrected on that, because we're talking 97. Yeah, it's a long time ago. But anyway, that said, so please correct me on that if I'm wrong. But Technicality was just a necessity. It was needed, and what it did, it kind of helped all the artists on the label. It developed this sort of competitive, because once Charlie and Nelson, Fractured Netchin got involved, and they were like local boys, and then, Breakage was around, and Equinox and Senses, and we're all playing every week or every month, sorry, at Herbal, and hearing each other's stuff, and the ASC would come down every couple of months, and even like the coming in with the weird sounds and the more atmospheric shit, and like, oh, man, he's making some amens, isn't he? What's he doing? You know what I mean? It was a great time, and it was. I'd love to hear what everyone else thought. Actually, I'm really gonna have to put something together, but because our 25th anniversary sort of starting. Well, I mean, technically speaking, it's now, but I mean, it could be any point in the next year. But anyway, that's how Technicality started, and that's why it started. It was needed. Representing the underrepresented is what we always are about. We needed somewhere where we could go, hear music that we wanted to hear, and enjoy it. So, that's what it was about. And Speed was a big part of that as well, because we used to go Speed, Blue Note. We were like, even though those were still happening, well, they had both stopped by that time, and so like there wasn't anything that was sort of representing that darker underground sound, or the darker underground and atmospheric sound, shall we say? But there you go. Again, another one of your random questions, Scott. Gary, sorry. You have quite a legacy of artists from Technicality and Inperspective, example, ASC, Equinox, Seba, Andy Scopes, etc. Yes. Gary, I love the way you write your questions, man. Yes, I do. It is an amazing legacy of artists. I mean, you can't forget Peter Kay, can't forget Survival. I know what you're trying to say. You want me to start rabbiting, I get it. Andy Scopes, rest in peace, always one of the greatest. Very grateful for Seba for coming down from on high to give me my car crash too that I've been begging him for 20 years in the form of No One Dies. I've been jokingly saying to him he should remix Car Crash for years. I said, fucking just remix it, man. Just make it, do a really tear out version, like really dark it. And he was like, oh, come on, man. He's like, I said, well, look, if you ever do something like that, just send it to me. And I got No One Dies, which is the title being so ironic because the only cover that my dear departed Helen did for the label was for No One Dies, and it's a picture of my son. So the amount of personal shit in that release personally, and then it's called No One Dies, and then Helen obviously did what she did, which is coming up to her anniversary, but whatever. Definitely an amazing roster of artists. I'm probably forgetting people, and then obviously, yes, I'm forgetting people because now, you know, sort of like that was the sort of early days, and then it's sort of like with Jim Earl Grey, you know, his and Profane and Future T, and then we've got Polska and again Sudade and Shaikan Hanzo and Lynch Kingsley. It's been a very, very joyous time, and I can't wait for you to hear some of the new stuff. Anyway, tell us about your time running Mid-School Hospital. We don't need to do that. It's all right. What does the future hold for both yourself and Inperspective? Well, if I'd done this a year ago, I'd have probably been talking about marriage to an inappropriate person. So if I'd done this when you said this to me, mate, and that's part of the reason why I didn't do it. But anyway, don't cut this out. I want all of this in. Anyway, what does the future hold for both yourself and Inperspective? Well, there's a lot, actually. Like I said, I've got about 5 or 6 projects that have been sort of on hold for over a year. And, you know, it's partly, I'm not going to go into that now, but there's a personal reason why I've not really been doing much on a label at all. But that's all changed now, and I'm very much, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this video, is part of the reason why I'm sending this to you, Gary. I guess you're going to have to chop up maybe a little bit, but I'm probably going to post it up in its entirety on my YouTube channel. Anyway, I hope that answered your questions. I hope it wasn't too boring. And if you ever have any more questions for me, I'm always available to answer. So thank you very much. Love it. Love it.
Data upload complete.